Hello students, how are you? We have completed the first part of this chapter 2 and now we will discuss the second part of this chapter. And we are going to study the story of a second boy named Mukesh. I want to drive a car. This is a sentence spoken by Mukesh and Mukesh is the main character over here. Mukesh insists on being his own master. He wants to be his own master. From this sentence only we can make out that at present he is not the master of his life. I will be a motor mechanic, he announces. So he wants to be a motor mechanic, and at present what is his profession, that we'll see later. Do you know anything about cars? I ask. The author asks Mukesh that whether he knows anything about cars. I will learn to drive a car. Mukesh says that he will learn to drive a car. He answers looking straight into my eyes. He looks straight into the eyes of the author. His dreams looms like a mirage amidst the dust of streets that fill his town Firozabad. Now here we come to know that Mukesh belongs to Firozabad and his dream is to drive a car. But his dream is like a mirage, that is the dream that is not possible to be fulfilled, as his dream is like searching water in the desert. We can make out that he belongs to a very poor family, and to own a car, to drive a car, it is very much impossible for him. Firozabad, as we know, that is famous for its bangles. Every other family in Firozabad is engaged in making bangles. So every other family, those who reside in Firozabad, they are engaged in making bangles. It is the center of India's glass blowing industry, where families have spent generations working around furnaces, welding glass, making bangles for all the women in the land, it seems. So Firozabad, most of the families, they are engaged in making bangles, and we can say that it is a center of India's glass blowing industry. Means in India the glass things which are made, that is from Firozabad, and all the families, they are working around furnaces. Furnaces in Gujarati we can say bhatti. Welding glass means giving shape to the glass, making bangles for all the women in the land, it seems. So they are making lot of bangles. It seems that these all bangles are made for the women which lives in Firozabad. Mukesh family is among them. None of them know that it is illegal for children like him to work in a glass furnaces with high temperatures. Now to make bangles, a place with very high temperature, and they have to work in the glass furnaces with the high temperature. So the temperature over there is high, and we know that it is illegal for the children to work at that dangerous places. In dingy cells means dark cells without air and light. So the place where the bangles are made, that is without air and light. So we can say that it is very dark and it is very harmful for the children. That the law, if enforced, could get him and all those 20,000 children out of the hot furnaces where they slog their daylight hours, often losing the brightness of their eyes. If it is against the law, and and it is illegal for the children like Mukesh to work at these dangerous places. And here the meaning of slog is working hard. Their daylight hours often losing the brightness of their eye. Means if these children, if they work in this place, in future they may lose their eyesight. Mukesh I beam as he volunteers to take me home, which he proudly says is being rebuilt. Now, Mukesh is very much happy to take the author to his house, and he says that my house is rebuilt. Rebuilt means reconstructed. We walk down stinking lanes choked with garbage, past homes that remain hovels with crumbling walls. Now, from this only we can make out that Mukesh is a poor boy and he too lives in a slum area. Stinking lanes, dirty lanes where the dirty smell comes, choked with garbage, that is totally blocked with garbage. Past homes that remain hovels. Hovels here is cottage with crumbling walls. Crumbling walls means broken walls. Wobbly doors. Wobbly doors means shaking doors. No windows, crowded with families of humans and animals coexisting in the primeval state. So here the houses are small, they are not well built up, and the humans and the animals also live over here. Primeval means ancient. He stops at the door of one of such house, bangs a wobbly iron door with his foot and pushes it open. Now he opens that wobbly door and that is his house. We enter a half-built shack, in one part of it thatched with dead grass. So the roof that is made up of dead grass, and we can say that his house is a hut, and it is not properly constructed. Is a firewood stove over which sits a large vessel of sizzling spinach leaves. Spinach means we can say in Gujarati palak, and in the large vessel it has been cooked. On the ground is a large aluminum platters. Aluminum platters means aluminum plates, and more chopped vegetables, more cut vegetables are there on the ground. A frail young woman is cooking the evening meal for the whole family. Now one more character here we are going to study is a frail young woman. Frail means weak, and she is cooking the evening meal for the whole family. Through eyes filled with smoke she smiles. Now that is we can say in Gujarati the stove, that is chula, and we know that lot of smoke comes from the chula when the food is cooked, and though her eyes is filled with smoke, she smiles. She is the wife of Mukesh, elder brother. So this character, this woman over here, she is the wife of Mukesh, elder brother. Not much older in years, means Mukesh brother is not much older in years compared to Mukesh. She has begun to command respect as a bahu. So we can say that she is Mukesh brother's wife, the daughter-in-law of the house. She is the daughter-in-law of the house, already in charge of 3 men. Her husband Mukesh and their father. These are the 3 men. When the older man enters, she gently withdraws behind the broken wall and brings her veil closer to her face. Now as soon as she sees her father-in-law, she goes behind the broken wall. We know that Mukesh house is a hut and it is not well built. So she goes behind the broken wall and brings her veil closer to her face, means she hides her face. As custom demands, daughter-in-law must veil their faces before male elders. So according to their custom, that the daughter-in-law must cover their faces when the male elders enter the house. In this case, the elder is an impoverished bangle maker. Impoverished means very poor bangle maker. Despite long years of hard labor, first as a tailor. Now here, this character is Mukesh's father. He had worked very hard in his life. First of all as a tailor, then a bangle maker. But still he has failed to renovate his house. He is not able to renovate his house in spite of working hard as a tailor and a bangle maker. Send his two sons to school. He was not able to send Mukesh and his elder brother to school also. All he has managed to do is to teach them what he knows. So he knows the art of making bangles, and he has taught Mukesh and his elder brother the art of making bangles. It is his karam, his destiny, says Mukesh's grandmother. Now karam means nasib, and this is a sentence spoken by Mukesh's grandmother, who has watched her own husband go blind with the dust from polishing the glass of bangles. Students, over here, when the bangles are polished, lot of dust goes into the eyes. And in Firozabad, as we know, that most of the people, they are engaged in bangle making, and in future they go blind because of the dust that goes into their eyes. So the grandmother says here that it is his karam, destiny, who has watched her own husband. She has watched her own husband who has gone blind with the dust from polishing the glass of bangles. Can a God-given lineage ever be broken? She implies. Means this is the gift given to them by God, and they cannot go out. They cannot go beyond this line. Means they have to work as the bangle makers only. Born in the caste of bangle makers, they have seen nothing but bangles. They are born in the caste of bangle makers, and they have seen nothing but only bangles. In the house also, in the yard, in every other house, every other yard, every street in Firozabad. Everywhere they could see only the bangles. Spirals of bangles, that is the piles of bangles. These are the colors mentioned here: sunny gold, paddy green, royal blue, pink, purple. Every color born out of the 7 colors of the rainbow. In the short form we can say Vibgyor. These are all the colors of the rainbow. Lie in mounds in unkempt yards. Unkempt yards means they are piled up there, and they are kept in the dirty yards, and are piled on 4-wheeled handcarts. Now afterwards they are piled in the 4-wheeled handcarts, and they are pushed by the young men along the narrow lanes of the shanty town. Shanty towns means very narrow town. And in the dark hutments next to lines of flames of flickering oil lamps sit boys and girls with their fathers and mothers. So the boys and girls, they also sit with their fathers and mothers in the very dark room where there are no lights. Only the source of light over here is the oil lamps, welding the pieces of colored glass into circles of bangles. Means they are giving the shape and making the bangles, the colorful bangles. Their eyes are more adjusted to the dark than to the light outside. Means most of the time these children and their family, they spend in this dark room in making bangles. So they are not used to the light which is there outside. That is why they often end up losing their eyesight before they become adults. As I told, that while making bangles, a lot of dust goes into the eyes, and that's why as they grow up, they lose their eyesight.